Scanning for audio.
Hello, welcome to another Tin Dog podcast. We're talking about Torchwood release number 76, Odyssey. There is an loose, well, I'm suspecting it's loose, Ood-based trilogy. Whether they fit together or not, I just don't know. It's a Torchwood monthly range, so basically we've got 3 Ood stories. Yeah? And this one's got Claire Reshbrook in it. And the bloke who played the original voice of the Ood, playing an Ood and himself, which is kind of cool. Ida Scott has spent her life running from her father, but she's now come looking for him. The Spire is an ancient relic left behind by the Resilient, a mysterious race who warped both gravity and time. Odysseus Scott, good name, lies dying in bed in the Spire. He believes it will cure him, but are the Resilient really dead? Now, for those of you playing the Tin Dog podcast drinking game, I'm going to use the word Lovecraftian. I'm also going to use the word... No, let's go with Lovecraftian first. That's a nice one. I'll probably ramble later. And what you've got here is something very dark. Think... Oh, what's that absolutely terrible film? The worst film I've ever had to sit through. Not Last Year in Marienbad, which is the worst film I've ever had to sit through. It's a black hole. Event Horizon. Event Horizon is dark, scary, and atmospheric, and rubbish. Remove the rubbish bit, and then place it here. Because let's face it, it's the same character who you had in the Satan Pit. That whole escape from the black hole. The escape on a Torchwood spaceship. And that is the tiny Torchwoody hook you can put on this. Torchwood is kind of helping run the Empire by this point. It's a futuristic story. It's not Cardiff-based. Sorry, should have made that very clear. I love the fact that the monthly range is so open. It's so sandboxy that you can suddenly go, hey, here's a character from 17 years ago who had something to do with the Ood. And yeah, now here's my problem. It's Claire Reshbrook. Now, she's great. Don't get me wrong on that one. But I've spent the last 2 years with her being Liv Chenka's sister. And for a good minute and a half, I thought, oh my God, it's a robots versus Ood storyline. That'll be fantastic. And no, because at the end, Liv Chenka's sister goes off in a spaceship to wander the stars, and here we've got a character turning up in a spaceship who's been wandering the stars. I'm a bit dim, I'm sorry. So I got that. I did get that. I want to say Sean Carson. It's not Sean. Sorry. Her dad, Odysseus Scott, hence the name, is unwell. And this place, the Spire, which is weird because there's a health centre called the Spire in Elland in Yorkshire, and not too far from where I live, and it made me think, is that where he is? Okay. And it does feel like a whole mountains of madness, ancient civilization, but then there's the seas of gravity, which work so well on audio. You can picture this crumbling waves of dust, destroyed by time in this tiny pinnacle of no gravity at all, and then the little life pods bolted onto the side. It's very, very well described, and the atmosphere and the imagery up here just works. I thought this was a great story. I mean, it was well worth listening to immediately on finishing. But that's kind of how Torchwood's been for me for the last couple of years. I love audio Torchwood so much more than I ever loved it on TV towards the end. As soon as you hit Miracle Day and Children of Earth, I couldn't stand it. But Series 1 and especially Series 2 was great, but this feels much more like your Doctor Who's with your Satan Pits. And that just works. Flat out. Absolutely adorable storyline. You've got Clay, so you've got some great performances, some great acting going on. Subtle and desperate and vulnerable and all of the things that you want. And effortless. Atmosphere-wise, it is definitively dark. It is a perfect story for October, and as we, a week away from Halloween as I record this, is just lovely. The Ood in the character in the storyline is important, but no, doesn't even feel like bolted on. And the reasoning for them having the same voice, that's just clever. Really clever. And adds to the Doctor Who universe really nicely. Here's the trailer. Decide for yourself, as always. And until next time, be seeing you.
The new mouths scream their warning. So many new mouths to feed. All born screaming, all born hungry. Will she be brave in the face of so many teeth? Welcome, Odysseus Scott.
What is this? Where are we?
From Big Finish Productions, Torchwood, Odyssey.
The Spire survived for a long time. A still point on a world of gravitational chaos.
The rest of the planet being a pond of constant gravimetric storms when nothing could survive.
The Spire is the last artifact of the Resilient. The gravity storms raging across Faber bend space and time around them. The Spire was built to focus them, so your father says.
This is Faber, where the Resilient forged pure stillness at the heart of chaos. This is a gravity that transfixes, transports. Gravity, the oldest force in the universe.
Gravity is gravity.
Your dad is the voice.
The voice of what? The Ood.
I open the mouths, hear the Resilient. The Spire is falling and must be built anew. The Resilient must be born.
Big Finish, for the love of stories.
That was the Tin Dog Podcast. Everything discussed is the intellectual property of others. No infringement is intended. For early access to reviews, follow the show on YouTube or Twitter @Tin Dog Podcast. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.